Hello, good morning. This is Emerson with ATAGO in Japan. And today we'll be looking at the temperature controller for polarimeters. And today specifically, we'll be looking at how it connects or how you will use it with the SAC-i. This same model or instrument connects to the AP-300, so it's the same temperature controller that can be used on the SAC-i and AP-300. With the SAC-i, you don't need anything, just this temperature controller. If you have an AP-300, depending on what version of the AP-300 you have, then you might need an additional accessory or two. So if you're using an AP-300 and you're interested in a temperature controller, let us know, and we will see if you need an accessory or not. Okay, so let's start. This is the temperature controller for polarimeters for the SAC-i. It controls temperature via a Peltier. Actually has multiple Peltiers inside to control the temperature. Multiple ones because we're going to make it fast for you. And the reason I mentioned the type or how it controls temperature is because with any Peltier system, whether it be on an RX or a polarimeter or any other type of instrument, you're going to be using a fan more than likely, and with that fan filters. Yes, it controls temperature through Peltier. It also has a fan and fan filters to do that controlling of temperature. The version we have now, which is the first version, is 100 millimeter with a 100 millimeter tube, flow tube. This is the first version we have. This is aimed mostly at pharmaceutical companies, cosmetic companies, and chemical companies. They are the industries that mostly use 100 millimeter tubes. If you're interested in a 200, please let us know. I know that the sugar industry uses 200 a lot, or almost only, and there might be a few other applications or industries that use 200 millimeter tubes. So if you're interested, please let us know, and we can give you an update on when we're coming up with that 200 millimeter tube. Also, I forgot to mention that if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at any point. We will pause the presentation and attend to your question, and then continue with the presentation. So please feel free to ask your questions at any time. All right, let's on to the next. Why do we have this temperature controller? Well, it starts with demand and technology. The technology of the water bath is getting outdated. Before, water bath was a big or main water bath was used in the lab and was connected to different instruments. But now instruments themselves have temperature control, like the refractometer, the RX has temperature control, the Visco has temperature control. So less and less the water bath is being used or needed. So it just made sense that we would also add temperature controller to the polarimeters. Also, because it improves accuracy and repeatability, when you control temperature sample, you're improving the accuracy of the reading and the repeatability of the reading because the temperature is stable. Remember that for angle of rotation or specific rotation, you don't have temperature compensation. You have temperature compensation in the Z scale, which is mostly used in the sweeteners or sugar industry, but angular rotation, specific rotation, these don't have temperature compensation. So reading the sample at a specific temperature or at an accurate temperature, it gives you a more accurate reading. Also, with these days, there are higher and stricter standards A few years ago, the standards were one thing, but the ISOs keep getting updated. The companies keep demanding more accountability, more traceability, higher standards. So with these higher standards, then a Peltier system makes more sense than a water bath. And also a Peltier system for controlling temperature is a lot quicker and more accurate than a water bath. It can control the temperature within seconds. Not only quicker in setup time, but also quicker in for the sample to get to that temperature, and more if you have any adjustments that you need to do, you can quickly do it. If you have any temperature adjustments that you need to do, the Peltier will do it a lot quicker and easier than you would by changing the temperature in a water bath. That would take longer than the Peltier. I think we have, okay. So yeah, so those are the few reasons why we are started offering the temperature controller for polarimeters. And as you can see from this image, this is the temperature controller right here. To the right, you may see a smaller image. The round part is just the controller itself, like the buttons and the controller. The actual temperature module, the Peltier, the part that cools and warms up your temperature, is this part. And as you will see in the video, it's sort of external. The reason we made it this way, or this external is the wrong description. It's not integrated into the instrument. Yeah, that's a better way of explaining it. It's not integrated. It's a separate module, and the reason it's an external module or separate module is because we already have a lot of you guys using AP-300s, using SAC-i's out there. And if you're looking to upgrade, if you're looking for a better way to control temperature, we don't want you to invest in a new AP-300 with an integrated Peltier or a new SAC with an integrated Peltier. So this way, current users can buy just the temperature module and add it to the AP-300 or the SAC-i that you already own. No matter the serial number or the age, it'll work with any AP-300 or AP-100, and I'll be brave enough to say even for an AP-100, those are still out there. But that's one of the main reasons why we designed it this way. We wanted customers to easily upgrade to temperature control on an instrument they already own. Also, it's very versatile, where if you're using an AP-300 and you're going to upgrade to a SAC-i, you can just buy a SAC-i and you can keep the temperature module because it can be used on both models. Or let's say you have a old AP-300, let's say the halogen lamp, and you want to upgrade to an AP-300 with the LED lamp, because you don't want to be changing lamps when it burns out, then or as often, then you don't have to upgrade. I mean, you can buy a new AP-300, but you can keep the temperature module that you already have and use it on the new polarimeter, ATAGO polarimeter that you're gonna get. One time I get the question, is it compatible with the Polax? It's not. It is only compatible with the automatic, digital automatic polarimeters, which is the AP-300 and the SAC, and even the SAC-882, but that model is mostly used in the sugar industry as well, or sweeteners. Also, it's modular because it's easy to replace parts. As you can, I'll show you in the video, the different parts are right there. So if you need to change a filter, if you need to change a fan, if you need to change the base, you can do it. You, the users, can do it. And it's very easy to replace because you have access to it. It's not integrated in a way that you need to open the instrument to have access to it. Which brings us to the other point. You can do it yourself. You, the end user, can do the maintenance on this. If you need to change the observation tube or the fan, the top part or the base, you can do it yourself. It doesn't have to go to a service center to do this. If it's a more serious problem, then you can send it to a service center. But most of the replacements you can do yourself. And also, it's similar to this. The consumables are accessible. The consumable parts for this, which would be mostly just either the flow tube or the fan filter, you have easy access to it. You can do it yourself. Okay. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? Okay. No questions, then I will start with the video. This is a video of how to use, it's a preliminary video, preliminary video manual of how to use a temperature controller. So in this video, it's working with the SAC-i. Like I said, you can use it with SAC-i or SAC-i AP-300. The catalog number is 5900. The temperature range, give me a second, let me go back to that. The temperature range is 10 to 50 Celsius. We found that this is the most used temperature range for a 100 millimeter tube in the different industries. And the accuracy of the temperature is 0.2 Celsius. Remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. You can also email us at overseas@atago.net. Someone is going to type in that for you in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to break down the different sections or parts of the temperature controller. So the middle image is the actual part that controls temperature, and that sits in the SAC-i as you see it there. And it would similarly fit on the AP-300. So this is a thermal module unit. Okay. It has, the top part is a fan filter, then it has, the fan cover, and just below it, you can't see from the image, but it's a fan filter, and you have the base for the observation tube. You have the fan, and you have the observation tube, which is 100 millimeters. So to install it, you just open the door of the sample door or sample chamber door of the SAC-i, and I'm not sure if you knew, but the SAC-i has two connections for temperature. This one to the left. Actually, you can't see my mouse. Give me a second. Okay, to the left, you're gonna see a little silver plastic tab and a black probe connected to it. That is the temperature sensor for the chamber. But as the text can tell you, there's a second part for connecting the temperature, which is the top right. That one is usually reserved for flow cells, flow tubes, or in this case, temperature controller. So the temperature controller will be controlling the temperature of your sample, but it will be connected to your display, and you'll be able to see this temperature on your display. Okay, so the temperature that you should go by is the temperature that's on the display of your SAC, not on the display of your controller. I'm going to talk about that a bit more in a few minutes. Okay, so it's just a screw type. You screw in the temperature sensor. So there are two ways of using the thermal module. You can either assemble it in there, where you're going to put the base and then put the flow tube and then put the thermal module on top, or you can assemble it outside and then just put in the whole module inside. So this video will show you both ways of doing it. So whichever is more convenient for you. So here I'm just putting in the base. I already filled up the flow tube with the sample, so I'm putting in the flow tube, and then I'm putting in the temperature module, and that's it. That's how you set it up. At least that's one way. Just make sure that the wires are not in the optical path over here. Okay, and there's a section there that you can hook the wire and then close the cable. Sorry, not the wire. The second setup option is for you to set it up outside. So you put the base, you put the flow tube, and you set everything. The nice thing about this temperature module is that it's magnetic. So the top part is gonna be magnetized to the bottom part, and it's gonna keep your flow cell in place. So it's easy to move it. Once you set it up like this, like the base, the flow tube, and the temperature module, it all clicks together magnetically, and it you move it or you handle it as one piece, not as 3 different pieces. I don't think you can appreciate that from the video, but once it's set up magnetically, they latch on together and you can use it as one piece. You can hear I'm putting it in the SAC-i, putting the cable there, and that's it. That's all the setup that you need. Turn on the instrument and measure. Actually, here you see you have 2 different. It says in the video it says fixed channel 2. If we go back to where we were connecting the temperature sensor, that is channel 2. So channel 2 is the top right connector. The bottom left is channel 1. Okay. You can click on this button to change channels. So make sure that when you're about to read, when you're about to take the measurement of your sample, make sure that it's on channel 2, and that's the temperature of your sample. If you have it on channel 1, it will be reading the temperature of the chamber itself, not of the sample. Okay, then you turn on the SAC and the temperature controller, and this part, this round part, is the temperature controller. So on the top right of the SAC, you're going to see the temperature. Okay, and you're also going to see a temperature on the controller. So earlier I said that you should be paying attention to this temperature, the one in the SAC, because the temperature in the SAC is the sample's temperature. This temperature that's displayed here is for a guide only, it's for control only. So if you need to measure at 20 Celsius, for example, you're going to put 20 here. But maybe when this instrument is controlling the temperature of the peltier at 20, maybe your sample is not 20. Maybe it's 20.5, for example. And that's because of the ambient temperature. The ambient temperature is affecting the sample's temperature. So if it's a higher temperature than you need to, even though this is set at the temperature you want to, you need to readjust this to get this temperature to what you need to. So these numbers are just to help you control. This is the actual temperature that you need to pay attention to, and this is the temperature of your sample. Okay. So in order to start programming your temperature, you're going to press this button and hold it for a few seconds until the numbers start blinking. Once they start blinking, it's ready for you to change numbers to whatever target temperature you have, and you can use you can press again this button to move from digit to digit, from number to number. And once you're in the location that you want to change the number, then you press stop to scroll through numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there we go. The number is blinking, and it's already at 2. Let me see if I can pause it just right. Alright, so it's blinking and it's at 2. I want to put it at 20 degrees Celsius, so I don't need to change this digit. I need to change the second digit. So I'm going to press this button again once, and the blinking will move to the second digit. Okay. Here I'm pressing it again, and you see that the 1 is now blinking. So now that the 1 is blinking, that means that's the number I can change. So I'm going to go to the other button and scroll to the number I want that digit to be. Okay, in this case, I want it to be 0. So once I have 0, then I'm going to go to the first button, to the left button, and confirm or change to the other digit. Okay, now 4 is blinking, and I want 4 to be 0 in this case. So I change it to 0, and once I have the temperature I want, which is 20.0, the temperature hasn't, or the temperature module has not started to change temperature. I'm just setting the target temperature. So in order for the temperature module to start controlling temperature, I need to press and hold the set button, and then you're going to see this green light start blinking. Once the green light starts blinking, that means that it's changing temperature, the Peltier is working. Once it stops blinking, then you know you have reached your target temperature. And when you do that, you need to confirm that the sample is the temperature you want. If it's not the temperature you want, then you need to readjust this again until you have your sample's temperature here. Okay, so I'm holding down. Now all the buttons are, all the numbers are flashing. You see the green light is flashing. That means that it's controlling temperature. You see how quickly it does that? Very quickly. So in this case, for example, if you see the temperature on the SAC, it's 19.5, but I want it to be at 20. But my temperature controller says 19.9 or 20. So that means I have to go 0.5 more or less degrees higher in order to get my SAC to have 20 degrees Celsius. So in this case, I need to go back to the temperature controller and change it by 0.5 or 0.4, and then you see the temperature on the SAC get to 20. So now that I have achieved my target temperature, now I can start measuring my sample. Okay, and you just press start. The SAC-i has now read the sample, and you're finished. That's how you use the temperature controller on the SAC. Do you have any questions? Okay, so if there's no questions, then this ends the webinar. If you have any questions if you're seeing this video after it went live, then please email us at overseas@atago.net, and we can answer any of the questions you have. Okay. Thank you very much, and have a great day.